now spray gunning each other with as much dirt as they could possibly do, having spewed lovey-dovey stuff to each other for months on end. It was fascinating.
I mean, if even only half of what he's saying is true, Blake Lively is a complete nightmare.
Some celebrities dazzle us with funny Instagram banter, flawless public appearances, and a sugar-sweet love story that seems almost too perfect to be real. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have long been dubbed the internet's favorite quirky couple, enchanting fans with playful birthday pranks, sassy comments, and carefully timed photo ops. But the illusion isn't as pristine as it appears.
If what he's alleging is true, she sounds like an absolute nightmare.
Rumors of manipulative PR strategies, shady lawsuits, and shocking behind-the-scenes power plays suggest this duo may be orchestrating something far more strategic and far more disturbing than fans ever suspected.
Tried to take over and hijack the movie, and when she didn't get her way, she brought her much richer, more successful and powerful husband in to lay down the law.
The cracks began when high-profile voices started calling them out for everything from suspicious relationship timelines to near-comical PR stunts gone wrong.
That he's now got a website dedicated to spilling the dirty laundry about his co-star in the film. It's unprecedented.
Could it be that the funny tweets, the seemingly spontaneous jokes, and the warm, family-friendly vibe are all part of a master plan to control public perception?
The publicists involved, the actors involved, everybody involved seems to be absolutely horrible.
Buckle up, because once the curtain lifts on the illusion surrounding Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and their brand of perfection, you might never look at them the same way again. The seeds of suspicion were planted when insiders hinted that Blake and Ryan's entire online presence is methodically choreographed. Remember those hilarious posts, like the one where she cropped him out of a photo, or when he jokingly implied she forgot his name on his birthday? According to at least one whistleblower, those playful moments on social media didn't spontaneously spring from genuine affection. They were ghostwritten by paid comedy writers, then tested and refined before the couple posted them. In a world saturated with celebrity thirst traps, you might be wondering, what's so wrong with being funny and well orchestrated on social media? The answer, absolutely nothing, as long as it's transparent or harmless. But rumor has it that their entire quirky dynamic conceals a far more controlling and manipulative strategy. Former staff even claim it's almost impossible to reference something as mundane as the cereal they eat without inciting a legal meltdown. Almost like they hold the trademark on every aspect of their daily lives. It's one thing to filter your own photo or plan a witty tweet. It's quite another to craft an entire fantasy of spontaneous humor and warmth to overshadow darker truths. Clearly, the real story goes much deeper. But that wasn't even half the story. When word spread that Blake Lively made a surprise visit to a small-town donut shop, fans thought it was a heartwarming gesture, until they noticed she wasn't wearing a hairnet behind the counter. Local health guidelines require employees to wear hair restraints to avoid food contamination, yet there she was, tossing her glam locks over trays of pastry dough. In no time, the health department got complaints from disgruntled customers who felt the beloved actress had dangerously flaunted her star power. The internet lit up with debates, half of them chuckling at how ironically unrelatable this relatable moment was, and the other half furious that her cameo might have put people's food safety at risk. The donut shop was flooded with negative reviews on Yelp, forcing the website to temporarily freeze the page to stop retaliation attacks. Instead of riding off on a wave of wholesome press, Blake ended up whipping the community into a frenzy. Her team's spin that outraged bystanders were the ones overreacting. According to leaked insider comments, they argued that the negative reviews were posted by individuals who'd never stepped foot in the bakery. But as many observers pointed out, maybe the problem wasn't the mean internet mob. Maybe it was the star's disregard for basic health protocols in her scramble to appear down to earth. One fiasco with a misplaced hairnet might not sound like career-shaking news, but it signaled a pattern, a desperation to remain America's sweetheart while skipping the actual legwork and accountability that real authenticity demands. Still, the donut dilemma barely compares to the scandal that followed. Not long ago, a prior movie moment came roaring back to the surface. In interviews promoting a film called A Simple Favor, Blake casually bragged about improvising a scene where she grabbed co-star Henry Golding's nether regions, without warning him in advance. "It felt like something my character would do," she laughed, as though groping an unsuspecting co-star mid-scene was all in a day's work. The interview quickly ignited controversy. Some people asked the obvious question: if this behavior was reversed, If a male co-star had spontaneously grabbed Blake's body for the sake of creative expression, would the media and fans treat it so lightly? Others scrutinized the alleged hypocrisy. Reports suggest that in her current legal battles, she's faulting a colleague for similar spontaneous changes to scripted scenes, labeling them an invasion of her creative boundaries. If that's the standard she sets for others, why should she be exempt? Henry Golding, known for his calm composure, never publicly dragged Blake for her impulsive on-camera grope, but body language experts pointed out his apparent discomfort in interview footage. The question remains, did Blake cross a line she would never allow anyone else to cross with her? And if so, why haven't more people confronted her double standard? But that wasn't the biggest career bomb. Next came an alleged power struggle so intense, it threatened to reshape entire film productions. Nothing underscores Blake Lively's rumored controlling behavior more dramatically than the fiasco that unfolded while filming the adaptation of It Ends With Us. On paper, this was supposed to be director Justin Baldoni's passion project. In reality, sources say Blake hijacked the production, acting as though she was the one in charge. She reportedly insisted on dictating camera angles, reworking her wardrobe choices without approval, and even advising other actors on how to deliver their lines. Such meddling might be dismissed as typical diva antics, but rumor has it she also pulled in behind-the-scenes allies to undermine the director's authority. Some claim that whenever Baldoni pushed back, Blake made phone calls to executives or had her husband, Ryan Reynolds, step in with sideways remarks to studio heads. Before long, Baldoni was cast as the problem, especially in circles that matter most to a film's success. Insiders describe the environment as toxic, with entire sub-meetings taking place in Blake's trailer, separate from official production gatherings. The director couldn't get a word in without someone pulling him aside to mention notes from the star. In a normal world, actors have input on their character's portrayal, but they generally don't run the entire show. Yet Blake was rumored to do exactly that, stoking drama to push out anyone who resisted her vision. Stories soon surfaced claiming she stormed off set when she didn't get her way, and that Ryan Reynolds quietly made phone calls warning studios against trusting Baldoni for future projects. The fiasco reached such levels that staffers whispered about a divide-and-conquer approach, with Blake on one end, Ryan on the other, and Justin Baldoni pinned in the middle. The resulting tension led to allegations, lawsuits, and PR nightmares so convoluted that it's hard to believe we're talking about a romantic drama instead of a high-stakes political thriller. And if you believe the worst rumors, this was all just the tip of their empire's manipulative iceberg. Even in the midst of lawsuits and media exposés, Blake and Ryan still seem to have an ace up their sleeve: their carefully curated, family-first facade. They're widely applauded for keeping their children's faces off social media, which gives fans the impression that they're safeguarding their little one's privacy. However, insiders are now claiming that the couple still leverages those children whenever they need a fast, warm, fuzzy distraction from bad press. A former nanny shared that they compile their kids' cutest stories like they're building an emergency kit. Whenever tabloids start buzzing with unflattering chatter about lawsuits or set drama, out pops an adorable anecdote. Perhaps a toddler's mispronounced word or a comedic meltdown in the kitchen, anything to shift the narrative from, "Are these two orchestrating smear campaigns?" to, "Look at this relatable parenting moment," and it works. Each time the negative headlines peak, the internet floods with reminders that Ryan is the best girl dad, or that Blake is a champion for mothers everywhere. The public devours these glimpses of domestic life, forgetting the swirling controversies. Critics argue that it's less about genuine parental concern and more about PR cunning, a smokescreen that uses toddler tantrums and sparkle-studded family anecdotes to overshadow the scandal of the day. If they'll exploit their kids' stories for an image boost, some ask, what else are they willing to do behind closed doors? The answer might lie in how they handle their own relationship history. For years, fans believed Blake and Ryan's official story. They met on the set of Green Lantern around 2010, became close friends, then began dating only after he separated from his then-wife, Scarlett Johansson, in December 2010. It was a neat, wholesome narrative until behind-the-scenes sources stepped forward to poke holes in it. According to crew members, the two were already glowing during filming, ducking out between takes and returning looking suspiciously cozy. Some even recalled them exchanging flirtatious messages months before Ryan's official split. Then came the alleged text from Blake stating, "I can't stop thinking about him. We have to be careful," dated months before he was publicly single. In any ordinary context, that might not raise eyebrows. But combine it with rumors that they paid to scrub certain rap party photos from social media, threatening legal action to any site that tried to host them, and you're left with an unsettling possibility. Maybe the adorable anecdote about friends who fell in love after a double date wasn't as squeaky clean as they claimed. Of course, it isn't just a matter of personal relationships. The question is, if they're willing to rewrite their own timeline, what else would they spin to keep up appearances? As Hollywood watchers discovered, the couple's appetite for control apparently extends to more than just comedic Instagram posts. It seeps into every corner of their public narrative. But a reckoning was brewing, triggered by industry insiders who'd finally had enough. Enter Piers Morgan, a name that often sparks debate, but rarely subtlety. Morgan lobbed open accusations that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds were staging a full-blown psychological warfare campaign against both the media and their peers in Hollywood. He cited suspiciously uniform social media, banter, bizarre donut shop escapades, and the alleged sabotage of Justin Baldoni's directorial reputation. He even labeled them weapons-grade manipulators, shining a nuclear spotlight on their behind-the-scenes strategy. From that moment on, their PR house of cards started to wobble. The donut fiasco drew more scrutiny than support. The old Henry Golding story gained fresh outrage. The rumored meddling in It Ends With Us escalated into public spats as film staffers and insiders started leaking emails and texts. Accusations that Ryan was calling studios to torpedo Justin's career took center stage. Headlines lit up with the phrase, "Blake Lively meltdown," painting a picture of an actress so obsessed with controlling her environment that she'd risk lawsuits and sabotage the very film she starred in. But the most damning claims allege that the couple weaponized their influence to blackball anyone who refused to fall in line. Invitation-only influencer dinners, initially portrayed as fun gatherings with laughter and good food, morphed into potential blacklisting summits, where producers were quietly encouraged to steer clear of certain directors. If you wanted the protective shield of the Reynolds Lively brand, you stayed on their good side. If not, you found your deals mysteriously drying up. What started as comedic social media jabs to sell a perfect couple storyline grew into an empire that wields fear and intimidation when threatened. Now, even some of their once adoring fans have begun to see the cracks. After all, you can only bury so many controversies under a mountain of curated tweets and cutesy family anecdotes before the stories seep out from beneath.